The book we chose to read was Running with Scissors, a memoir by Augustine Burroughs.
Augustine uses the book to show his early life and all of the crazy events that he endured.
Throughout his memoir, Augustine describes the key most eventful times in his early life. The first key point, which is very apparent to the reader, is his mother is struggling with a mental illness.
This becomes apparent when she states to Augustine, "You have a very creative mother." Instant shoulder pads. In the quote, she was like getting ready, and she had just put Kotex maxi pads on her shoulders and used them as shoulder pads.
Later on in the book, Augustine's parents start to fight. As a result, Augustine's mother gets an even weirder psychiatrist named Dr. Finch. This is a key point because Augustine's mother becomes very close with Dr. Finch, and eventually Dr. Finch helps Augustine's mother divorce Augustine's father.
On top of all this, another key point was that Augustine struggles with his sexuality and discovered that he was gay.
The last key points are Augustine's family falling apart, eventually with Dr. Finch helping him drop out of school, and his mother forcing the Finches to adopt Augustine.
Augustine's purpose in writing this memoir is to give the reader insight into how awful his life was, and to show the reader that despite how bad your circumstances may be, you will survive.
For example, Natalie Finch grew up in the crazy Finch household where they ate dog food and had no responsibilities, but continued her dream and, it states in the book, graduated from Holyoke Community College and applied to Smith. And not only was she accepted with a full scholarship.
This quote exemplifies Augustine's idea that despite what someone's going through, they can still succeed just as Natalie did.
This is a picture of Augustine Burroughs on Dr. Phil. He was on Dr. Phil discussing Running with Scissors, and he was discussing why he made the book and his purposes for the book, and talking about how he ended up struggling with addiction and then overcoming it and becoming this world-famous author. Although this is a meaningful purpose, the book is lacking many points of information and is often very explicit. We have chosen the yield sign to best represent this book because this book goes from PG to PG-13 or R in 2 sentences.
This makes the book less enjoyable and somewhat disturbing.
For example, the Finch family and Augustine's mother and him leave to a motel because his mother has an episode where she loses it. And in the book, it states, she even scraped some of the popcorn textured ceiling down with her stubby fingernails and ate it. I felt like this part of the book was really, really, really disturbing, and Dr. Finch didn't handle it well, and he kind of attacked Augustine's mother, and he didn't deal with it well, and overall it just wasn't very good, and it was disgusting, and I didn't like it.
I felt that part of the book was interesting because I liked the imagery and I thought it was kind of cool. One of the key points I found unusual was Dr. Finch's lack of sanity. When he helped Augustine drop out of high school, he said, "I want you to take 3 of these pills and wash them down with some of that bourbon." Dr. Finch helped Augustine pretend to kill himself in order for him to be marked unfit to attend school. And I felt like that part made him seem even crazier than any of the other characters in the book.
I found that part somewhat interesting because, this guy's, helping a teenager drop out of school who is, later on gonna adopt him. And I felt like it's just, adds up to, all the crazy stuff that happens in the book and, the, insanity in the book. We have given this book a B- overall because even though we would recommend it to someone who is struggling and depressed and having problems in their life,
to someone who has a relatively normal life, the book would probably seem unfinished because at the end, Augustine's mother sues Dr. Finch and he loses his license, and Augustine's boyfriend kind of just disappears and you don't really get an explanation of where he went.